Alright, so I'm taking a little update video on this International Harvester 624 tractor. This has been quite a production getting this thing running. Or moving, I should say. It was running fine. But what I had to do was change the clutch in it. And as you can see, I've just got the loader brackets back on it here today. So I split the tractor, had to take all the loader brackets off, take the hood off, split the tractor. And then I wound up, got a new clutch in it, and put the new clutch in and put her back together, and she still wouldn't go. So I downloaded the manual and I said, you could have a couple of different things wrong. So I decided to check the power shift pump. So I wound up taking the power shift pump out of the donor transmission, and fortunately I was able to do a swap, and turned out the pump was bad in this tractor, and it sort of controls the clutch packs, which are down in here. So it's quite a production. You got to take this whole entire cast assembly off. So you got to take, of course they didn't have the loader brackets off. The loader brackets were off it, but you got to take the fuel tank off. You got to take the fuel tank bracket. You got to take this hood cowling, dash cowling off. Steering wheel, steering, so you got to disconnect all the tubes, and it's got all got to set away. Then you got to unbolt all the bolts here. There's 6 or 7 here. You got to take the shifter forks off. And you got to go down inside underneath the fuel tank. There's a hole, hand holes down in there. You got to undo all the bolts there, and there's a pipe fitting down in there, and you got to take all the linkages apart for your power shift rods and your throttle and your clutches for the PTO. So once you get all that done, then I made up a little crane with a steel beam up to the front, off the front of the tractor, and the roll bar that I put on there with chain hoist, and I was able to lift this whole assembly up, about 16 inches, enough to clear. The shifter forks for the power shift that go up and down, there's a rod that goes up right here, up through this casting right to the bottom. And you got to get straight, you got to lift straight up, and when you go back down, you got to line that it's a little 3/8 rod. It's got to go right down, dead straight. I had a little piece of work with the chain hoist getting her on, but anyways, got her swapped. Quite a production. And started up, tested her out, and she works properly. So problem solved. It was a worn pump that was leaking so bad when I took the old pump out, it would hardly suck, and then you could hear it leaking around the bushings on the shaft, or the gears that were pressed onto it. It was just worn right out. So the new one was sucking good. So anyways, that's it. Tomorrow morning the hood goes on. Back her out, take her for a little road run, and then I'm gonna put the loader back on it. And then I need to adapt the loader over to my Allo buckets. And then I'm gonna cut the crap off the back of the big snow bucket that came with the tractor, and put an Allo adapter so that all the buckets will be interchangeable on both front end loaders. So anyways, I'll show you quickly the pump here. This is the pump right here. Not a very big unit. Solid little block of steel though. So this is the suction port right here. And these are the 2 outputs. And this is the relief valve in the back here. This sticks out through the side of the transmission housing through this little spring-loaded relief valve, and then it just bypasses, goes down back a little tube to an oil filter, and then just dumps into the differential. But this right here and if I were to take this apart, pump apart, probably break these circlips off and piss around and take it all apart. And these bushings that are in here, both sides, mostly on the gear side, if you put your thumb or your finger over the thing here and you spin it, you can hear it sucking in, hissing in air around the thing. So it wasn't getting its prime. It wasn't pumping. It was just sucking air. It's spinning. It wasn't pumping because the bushings were so worn. So it must have been a very slow process. It just gradually kept losing power, and it would have been more sluggish and sluggish and sluggish, trying to get it to shift and then to go, and eventually it just quit working. And that's when I wound up getting it, after it sat for probably who knows how many years. So anyways, that's the pump. That's the one we changed. It's not something you want to change every day for fun. So, alright, I'm gonna sign off for now. It's getting late and I'm beat. Take care.